Cutting straight to the marathon update, yesterday I failed. I went into the race hoping for a sub 3:30 marathon, so anything under 3.5 hours would have been a victory. I even rode it on the brand new shoes, sub 3:30, and I couldn't do it. I did not have it in me. I gave it everything I could, and it just didn't work out. Reflecting back, there are definitely a few things that didn't go my way, but that is always going to be the case on race day. Unfortunately, you can never really predict how it's going to go on the day, but on the flip side, that definitely adds to the excitement. So starting with the positives, before I unpack how I failed, the event seemed like a success. It definitely felt bigger than last year, with a lot more runners and just more stuff to do after the event and for everybody that came to watch. This is now my second McLaren Vale Marathon, and I'm definitely planning to do it next year as well. The first was the first marathon I ever did, in which I completed it in 3 hours and 55 minutes, followed by this year, which was my third marathon, and I managed to do it in 3 hours 36 minutes. And in my opinion, they stepped up the medals as well this year, because I think that might be the best medal I've ever received, which is another tick for the event. So those that were running the event were incredible, all super friendly and super informative. They had everything that you could possibly need to make it run smoothly. And like I said before, the event gets better and better each year. So if you are in Adelaide and wanting to get out and start running, they do a 5 kilometre, a 10 kilometre, a half marathon, and the marathon if you're feeling up to it. But I would definitely recommend checking it out. On top of that, check out Great Southern Runs. They're the guys that organise all of these different races. And if you are in South Australia, I'm sure you'll find one for you. Another massive positive for the running event was the people that showed up to run. I showed up to this event to run solo. I had Kat and my family there to support.
You're doing good.
But the running portion of it was all on me. Throughout the entire marathon, there was all these runners that were shouting and cheering people on, motivating people up the hills, through the wind. People I don't even know the names of that helped me get through that race in the time that I did. I even ended up finishing the race with this man, not sure of his name, incredible guy in a white t-shirt that motivated me at several points throughout the race. So much so that we agreed to cross the finish line at the same time and sharing this incredible moment.
Yeah, that's the, whatever that wine.
So they're not on strap.
I didn't even catch his name, but I was incredibly grateful for this incredible human being because it definitely motivated me to finish in the time that I did. On the flip side of all that positivity, let's unpack what led me to failing the goals that I set out for this running event. I wasn't as ready as I thought I was going to be. The first half of the race went really well. There are definitely a few things that could have happened on the day which didn't, which would have improved my time. But given that it's equal and fair for everybody running on the day, it's really not an excuse. The real reason I didn't hit under 3.5 hours is simple. I just didn't run enough. So looking forward to the next marathon that I will inevitably do, I'm just going to have to run a whole heap more. Sub 3.5 hours isn't out of my reach. It's frustratingly close. I'm just not quite there yet, but I will be. A quick little checklist for why I didn't make it under 3.5 hours. Number one, I'm realizing I need to dramatically increase the volume that I'm running each week. That way on race day, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable under those conditions. Everything else on the checklist can happen on any given day. It's just annoying when it does happen on race day. Number two, I definitely hadn't fueled my body enough in the lead up to the event. This became clear in the final hour of my run as my body felt like it just started to shut down. I got my first cramp that I've ever had during a run. Nice little first for me. My calves were on fire. My ankles started to swell, given that's probably just the amount of stress that they were under. And I'm realizing 5 running gels in the span of about 3.5 hours is about my limit. I had my last one with about 35 minutes still to go. I had a spare in my pocket just in case, but I just could not stomach it. And the thought of having my 6th running gel absolutely disgusted me, and it probably would have had me hanging in the bushes for about half an hour throwing up. On the plus side, didn't poo myself, so that's a win. Another thing on the checklist was the wind. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the windiest day ever, but when you're running uphill in a marathon, the last thing you want to do is to be running into a headwind. The hills alone are going to take it out of you. You then throw on a headwind on top of that, and it is absolutely crushing. Again, those that organised the race, unfortunately couldn't do anything about that. Everybody was in the same position that was running. I'm just complaining because it was a massive struggle. Another first for my running was I got to experience my first bonk. It's probably one of my favourite running terms just based on how it sounds, but it is basically when your muscles run out of fuel. So you are absolutely depleted. You've got nothing left. You'll question all your life decisions and you're still 7 or 8 Ks away from the finish line. It's an absolute world of hurt to get through. Usually you can get through it. It just really sucks in the moment and it's self-inflicted. So it's all on me, which is even worse. But just to provide context, I'm going to cut to a picture here of me after the race. This is me trying to find my safe space on the ground, cramping in my right hamstring, both calves on fire, ankles are feeling swollen, and I'm just trying not to throw up. In these moments, it's so important to refuel. That's why they hand out the fruit and the drinks and everything after the event. But with me lying on the ground, trying not to throw up, feeling like my legs were going to dissolve, I couldn't even do that. But just to come full circle, I'm happy that this is how I finished the race because that tells me I gave it my all. If I finished this race in 3 hours and 36 minutes, 6 minutes over my goal time, and was walking around pretty unfazed, I would have been disappointed in myself. At least I can say I gave it my all. I even got a notification on the fancy new watch, thanks boys, to say that my heart rate hit an all-time high at some point within me finishing the race, maxing out at 190 BPM. That might be another first for me in general, let alone in running. Side note, I'm pretty sure anything over 190 BPM for a 30-year-old is where it starts to get a bit dangerous. So probably best to avoid. All in all, the McLaren Vale Marathon was a great race. Unfortunately, I didn't make the times that I was hoping for, but that'll just keep me determined for the next one. 24 hours on and my legs are still feeling like concrete, so I'm just going to continue to eat my body weight in food, chill out, watch some movies, and focus on this recovery. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.